Good morning. This is Tyler Royce from the Tyler the Weatherman Connecticut Forecast Center with your morning update. And first, we're taking a look at the visible satellite over the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast for the past 2 to 3 hours. And what we're basically seeing is mostly sunny skies with some cloudiness, mostly partly cloudiness up in the Great Lakes, Erie, Buffalo area. But here in Connecticut, we're seeing mostly sunny skies with some patches of fog. And for the most part today and into half of tomorrow, we're going to be having high pressure and control over us. Plus, we are having what I'm going to consider and call the calm before the storm. And what I mean by this is that it is true that there's a calmness before a hurricane comes. There's a sinking motion that's always out ahead of a hurricane of sinking air. In a hurricane, we have rising air, but outside of the hurricane, all that rising air gets thrown out and it comes sinking down. So it kind of preludes, it kind of holds back any cloud development, and we kind of have the calm, sunny, like top 10 days of the year upon us. So just showing that we are going to be experiencing sunny days with some fogginess out there, with some patches of clouds. Some clouds will be able to develop, but nothing too major. And so as of this morning, as you've probably seen, National Weather Service offices across the southern New England into the Mid-Atlantic have been fiercely updating everything. And currently right now we're focused in on the Mid-Atlantic and southern New England regions, where Litchfield, Hartford, Talon, Windham, majority of Massachusetts are under a tropical storm watch. This will likely be visited once again around noontime today, especially in Albany, which covers Litchfield County, and again tonight. Don't be surprised if we definitely get upgraded to a hurricane warning or a tropical storm warning at this. And this is due to tropical force winds that we'll be experiencing. So the four southern counties, Fairfield, New Haven, Middlesex, and New London, they're all under hurricane watch until this storm has passed. They will be upgraded to a hurricane warning sometime soon within the next 24 hours. And also we're talking about, due to the amount of rain that's going to be coming towards us, flooding. And I'll go into that more as part of the issues that Irene will give us. And that's why there's a flood watch basically in effect for all of southern New England, including here in Connecticut, basically a Long Island, in anywhere in this region that tropical storm is going to be, hurricane is going to be, And there's even, I do know that Albany, National Service in Albany is considering a high wind watch, going into warning for our region. I'll keep you updated via Facebook and Twitter about this, and so will our website have the automatic feed towards this. So, checking out our current conditions with Irene. As of 8 a.m., it is a strong Category 2. It's been bouncing back and forth between a weak Category 3, strong Category 2, and it's still a very big, dangerous storm out there. And as you see, its movement is very slow at 14 miles per hour. And if you go to the infrared satellite, I've blown it up. You can access this through the E-Wall, Penn State E-Wall. This is a massive storm here, and just the reddish colors, as you've probably been listening to for the past several days, several times I've done this, is the strong convection. And that's what the National Hurricane Center has talked about, is that the convection around the eye, which is, I keep my cursor right there at the last frame, that yellowness in the center, is strong. It's deeply strong. That's why we could see some intensification back to a weak Category 3. But what's holding it back, is kind of weakening a bit, is that it's encountering some shear now. As I've discussed before, shear is changing wind direction vertically and even horizontally. And here's some stats that I wanted to pass along. According to National Hurricane Center, and this proves it, this is a large tropical cyclone. And to put it into perspective, if we were to plop this hurricane right now as it is on Connecticut, basically everyone in Connecticut will be dealing with hurricane force winds. Hurricane force winds are, if you were to draw a line either way, like do a radius circle from the eye out, 90 miles out from the center of this storm, you will be seeing hurricane force winds. So that's any winds above 74 miles per hour. Now here's the other stunner. You go out 290 miles radius wise. So 290 miles around the whole, out from the center out to the outer boundary and around. So big loop. You get to deal with tropical force winds. So this storm is massive. This is what we get to deal with. So any slow and any downgrading of the storm will take a slow process, as you have to basically downgrade this huge storm here. So I wanted to go, let's take a look at the current model tracks, and we kind of can pinpoint since the last time out. The models kind of shifted a little bit eastward, with the one exception of the European, which kind of did shift a little bit eastward and is actually on goal with the National Hurricane Track. I'm actually going to probably be staying with the National Hurricane Track, maybe a little bit deviate a little bit off, but what it's showing is currently down at the bottom where this purple thing is, and it's showing a model run, but it's that Category 2 kind of intensifies to a weak Category 3. The weak Category 3 will intensify, will hit the coastline of North Carolina, the Outer Banks, around sometime Saturday. We could click on, and this is what they're saying, is that this should be Saturday around morning time, around the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock hour. This should be just off the coast of North Carolina. And if we zoom out and progress further, it weakens to a category 2, and you basically see there are more scattered lines across western Connecticut, and I'll even show you close up here. And what it's looking like is that the hurricane will be reaching southern parts, the last landfall that it will reach in western Connecticut around the Sunday afternoon time frame. The afternoon time frame from, I'll say, from noon until 9 p.m., so we go into early evening hours, will be the worst of the storm here. It looks like landfall will occur anytime between, I'll say, 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock. I'm giving myself a little wiggle room because we're still dealing with a timing issue here. Yes, we're 2 days out, and the timing issue is still important. We first have to make our first hurdle, which is the North Carolina Outer Banks. Then after that, we get to see where it goes on from there. But the heaviest, I said, will be on the afternoon time frame. And so basically I am still going to go with a track here of just east of New York City, east of JFK Airport, shooting up just to the southeast and east of Torrington, off to the north into New Hampshire. And that's where that big black line is. And I'll switch, I'll change it to red. I'll switch back, and I'll go to a yellowish color here. So anywhere to the left with the yellow markers, you guys will be experiencing the deluge of precipitation. The heavier rain occurs on the western side of the hurricane, and especially we really have to watch out for Litchfield County down to Fairfield and up into the hillier terrains, as that's where we are going to see an increase in precipitation, something that all the National Weather Service officers have talked about. Now, if you're in the eastern half of the state, or on the eastern side of this storm, so I'm going to put yellow lines going towards Rhode Island, you guys will deal with a little bit less precipitation. A lot of people are calling for up towards 10 inches of rain in western Connecticut. And eastern Connecticut, people are calling for a little bit less, up to maybe 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. And this is due to you'll see more wind. So the eastern side of the storm will be windier, and that's where you can see more of the hurricane force winds once this comes through as a weak to moderate Category 1 storm here. So So we will be experiencing that on the eastern side. The western side will get to deal with a little bit less wind, more rain. On the eastern side, less rain, more wind. The strongest winds of the storm will be centered around the eye, the core of the storm. So anywhere near that eye, so I say any 50 miles outside of the eye, we'll get to deal with the maximum, the strongest winds here. And so the last several things I do want to go back, we'll go back, and if you live along the shoreline, I've been stressing this since day one. If you have an evacuation, the city says we're having mandatory evacuations, or the state comes out and says we're evacuating the shoreline, please do. This is a major thing here. We're not evacuating you due to the wind. We're evacuating you due to the water. In this here, what I'm showing you from Weather Underground, under the hurricane section, is the maximum potential storm surge. Something that we really have to keep an eye out, because we have a full moon out there, so the waters are going to be higher than normal already. So the storm surge will actually be higher than what they normally would be for a Category 1, Category 2 storm if it was to make landfall here in Connecticut. Right now we're looking at 3 to, I'm going to go out and say 9 feet storm surges. So that is water that's above what's already out there. That's 3 to 9 feet of water coming onshore. And you can basically see that it coming up to the Connecticut River. So anyone in along the, say, Middletown south, you get to see the storm surge come up through there. The Thames River in New London going up to Norwich, you get to see some of the storm surge coming up into there. Even the Housatonic River might see some of the storm surge going up into there. This is a dangerous situation with the high tide and the moon. The full moon is what's causing the storm surge to actually be higher than what we anticipate. And last but not least, the reason why we really have to be concerned with flooding is that the ground is saturated. We've had, as you probably have known, a very wet August. Bradley International Airport, as of August 16th, had already double the amount of rain that it normally should have for that half of the month. As we end the second half, it's not as much rain, but we are going to very surpass and become the wettest August and probably the wettest month of the year. What this here is this, the National Weather Service, the River Forecast Center for the Northeast, is flash flood guidance. And this is basically telling us how much rain needs to fall before we have to be worried for flash flooding. And this is just in 1 hour. So if we were to take this, and this would be for Sunday, we should expect for Litchfield, Hartford, Tolland, Northern New Haven, Northern Middlesex, basically around 2.5 inches of rain. If you get 2.5 inches of rain in 1 hour, anything after that, we'll see flash flooding. So let's say, give an example, we see 3 to 3.5 inches of rain in Waterbury, in the Naugatuck area, from this storm in 1 hour. Flash flooding will be occurring. Now, the red is showing that it only has to rain an inch to 2/10 along southern New Haven, along southern Fairfield. So they will definitely be, in my opinion, under flash flooding under 1 hour for this storm. Now this is we can go to 12-hour flood guidance. This is basically showing a little bit of, it's still an ugly picture here. It's different colors here. But the lighter blues are showing us that we need 4 inches approximately. 3 to 4 inches, possibly even 5 inches in a 12-hour period before we can reach flash flooding. So if we were to get 4 inches of rain in, let's say, 4 hours in a 12-hour outlook, we will be seeing flash flooding. Especially down in the shoreline. All they need is to have 3 inches of rain in a 12-hour window before they start to see flash flooding. This is going to become a major issue, especially when we're predicting heavy amounts of rain. Some people are predicting 8 to 12. We're looking at a substantial amount of rain of around 10 inches especially in the western part of the state, where they're going to be on the left side, the western side of the track, where the rainfall will be heavier compared to the eastern side, as I said earlier, where it will be lesser amounts of rain, on the order probably about half of what we'd probably be seeing in the western half. So my advice for today is be prepared for anything. Be prepared for the power outages, for the wind damage, for the flooding. Make sure you have at least several days worth of food, not ones that you have to actually have to cook on the stove, but you have food that all you have to do is maybe grill outside, or you can make a sandwich or something. Make sure you have plenty of water. Make sure you have flashlights. You have a generator, enough fuel, and please do not have the generator inside the house. We do not want to have carbon monoxide poisoning out there, and people dying from that. It's bad enough there will be some deaths from this, but we're trying to eliminate all the deaths that we can prevent. So be prepared. Do not panic. We will survive. Let's just go through this hour by hour, day by day, and we'll get through this. I'll have another update later this afternoon, and I'll provide 2 more updates for Saturday and Sunday. During the height of the storm, I will provide more updates throughout. Have a good day, everyone.